What's going on, people? It's Mr. Door back again with another review show. I hope everyone's fit and well. And yes, we're talking about Nottingham Forest's draw against Everton yesterday, ended 1-1. We're going to talk about what happened yesterday, everything. Like I said, goes up for us. Brennan Johnson scored his first Premier League goal yesterday. Yes, people, get involved. Get involved. And what was your thoughts about it yesterday? Before we do start and talk about the panel, if you can do a massive favor for me, hit the like button, subscribe if you're new. Right, let's get the panel in. I'm going to say the best till last. Next to me, the man himself. Yeah, he's not been here for a while, but he's been suspended for the whole year because I've not been happy with his appearance so far. And I've got the man himself, Malcolm. How you doing, Malcolm?
I'm right, Benny. You?
Not too bad, my friend. It's been a long time on it, Malcolm. It's been a long time on it.
Yeah, too late for me at this time of night.
Because Malcolm should be in bed because he was desperate to come on. He's missed people, so this is one reason I've got him on. But people, show some love to Malcolm, man. Next one, got the man, the Scouser, the man below me. We've got Lee. How you doing, Lee?
Good, mate. Good. Yeah.
And last but not least, we've got the man that can talk for ever and ever and ever. He's worse than Des Oldham, the man himself. Dave, how you doing, Dave?
Yeah, good, Ben. Thank you, mate. Yeah, it's just great to see all you lads and be able to talk about Forest again. Lovely.
Good. So, everyone's like I said, people, show some love to everyone. Like I said, if there's any questions about yesterday's game, your opinion about it, please put in the comments as well. Before I tell everyone about the game, look for the comments as well. First of all, here's Eve, Evening Door, Malcolm, and Lee. I hope you're well.
Hi, Eve.
Mr. O, evening, everyone. Evening, everyone. Come on, you Reds. This from Jeff, Supermate from Austria.
Oh, Vienna.
True Red, evening. The man himself, Hadi, Mr. Door, and Red. Loads of comments going through today, but yeah. Right. Let's get through the coach first. All of us went to the game yesterday. Malcolm, what was your opinion about the game yesterday?
I thought the first 15 minutes, we looked a bit like we did against Newcastle. We were a bit nervous and we were under the cosh. But then I think that after that first 15 minutes, we got our act together. Then I actually think that we did pretty well. In fact, at the end of the game, I said to you, imagine coming away from Goodison disappointed that you're only getting a point. Because to be honest, I think the second half, I mean, I've seen Stevie Cooper's post-match interview, and I've seen a lot of Everton fans being derogatory towards him about it, but I agree with him. I think we were the better team. I think we created more chances than they did, and I was pleased with the result. You know, win your home games, draw your away games, and that's a good sign for the season. But I thought we looked good. I know we've had some criticism on social media for Joe and whether he's quick enough and what have you, and that's a different debate for another time. But I was a little bit worried. I said to Dave in the game, I'm a little bit worried when Mangala went off, and I said this is going to be a big test for Yates, and he came on and he did really well. He did 100%. Really well. You know, it was his rebound. His shot that was the rebound for Brennan to score his first goal. Well done, Brennan. And he could have had a second one, and he did another one of those famous flying headers, didn't he? Absolutely brilliant day. Absolutely brilliant. And to come away disappointed with only a point, that says a lot about where we think we are at the minute.
Lee, do you echo what Malcolm said? Like I said, I said to Malcolm after the game, I was disappointed. I was really disappointed that we didn't get the 3 points. But like we said, a point away from home. What was your thoughts, Lee?
Yeah, pretty similar, really. I thought, they sort of controlled the first 20 minutes, and I thought Iwobi was running things for them in the first sort of 20 minutes, half an hour, and he looked a different class to anyone on their side. And then I thought we got into the game and without having loads of without creating loads of chances, it's one of those where we seem to be looking more towards Everton's goal more than our own. And out of the three, it's disappointing to concede such a late goal. But when I assess the 3 games, I think that was definitely the best performance that we've had so far. It was the most cohesive of them all, and that's got to be, that's got to be positive going forward. But I also agree about some of the negativity. And I mean, I got into a little bit of an argument with an Evertonian.
Shock
down
horror.
in the
Shock
city
horror.
centre. Well, I was talking fine to one of them who was just asking me about the game generally, and then another one from behind chipped in and was saying, they were lucky, Forest. They were lucky. One chance they had and they took it. And I said, I disagree. I said, I thought we sort of controlled the game. They probably had better chances, but I thought we controlled the game and played really well. And it was, you must have been watching a different game, lad. Must have been watching a different game. And, but then I've got the paper today and they've said the same thing, really. This journalist here says, Forest looked the better side. If Everton had scored at the very end, they would have took a win that they didn't deserve. And, watching Match of the Day back last night, because I thought, did I see things maybe through Forest tinted specs? But you watch Match of the Day, it was all Forest.
Don't get me started about Match of the Day. Don't get me started about it.
But we, even watching the highlights, how somebody can say, Forest were poor or Forest didn't deserve this or that. I definitely think there's a little bit of sour grapes in there, because I really thought we were the better side for an away team as well. I think there's lots to be positive.
Dave, I said we all mentioned the first 15 minutes. It was a bit shaky, and but after that we was all right. What was your thoughts for the first 15?
Well, like the two lads have said, Ben, the opening 15-20 was shaky and Newcastle-esque. And you kind of thought there's going to be a little bit of a tidal wave that's going to wash us away here. But then what happened, I thought that Forest, and it's to their credit, and it's going to help them moving forward through the season, Forest adapted to what was going on around them really, really quickly. And the fact that they've actually done that, they did it last week to a certain extent. I think they adapted last week to having gone a goal in front and then being put under the cosh. So they managed the game really well. Yesterday, they kind of were under the cosh from the start, and then gradually, and I thought, to their great credit, they cleverly worked their way into the game. And I thought the person who was most responsible for that, and I'm sure we're all agreed, the four of us and everybody watching, was that I thought Oral Mangala grabbed the initiative in midfield.
That's what I'm talking about as well.
Yeah, Oral didn't do anything massively spectacular, but a bit McGovern-like. He just grabbed the ball. He started to move the ball about. He helped Lewis to come into the game. He just set the tempo, and he took the initiative and the onus away from Everton. Now, in that first 15 minutes, I was losing a stone in weight every time Anthony Gordon got the ball, because I thought he was really impressive. He's a fine athlete. Same with Damari Gray. Having said that, I didn't think Everton would score because they were lacking the centre forward. Rondon isn't up to scratch in my view, but it was Oral Mangala and just his little, short passes, just knitting the play together. And what Forest did, they had enough of possession just to dampen Everton themselves and dampen what was going on in the stadium. And I thought Oral Mangala was quietly superb yesterday. And I was, as I'm sure we all were, I was A, gutted when he went off, and B, worried when he went off. Reports are that he's not too badly injured, but I thought it was just that way he subtly sort of said, all right, Everton, you've had your time, I'll take it now. And I thought he was, I'm not one for singling out, because I always believe, like Steve does, in the collective effort, stand and fall together, but I've got to pick Oral Mangala. But, and then from then on, it was a bit nip and tuck, but no, that was the first point at which Forest came to the game,
I think the biggest thing about Mangala, Dave, yesterday is his strength and his confidence.
Yeah.
If he loses the ball, he's pretty confident he's going to go and win it back pretty quick. And,
he did it twice, Malcolm.
Yeah,
he did it twice.
He's strong.
What he did, Malcolm, and it's a great point you make. He lost the ball, and he was offended by that on his own behalf and on Forest's behalf. And he went and won it back. And he didn't commit a foul in winning it back. He won it back clean. Now, Nico lost the ball earlier and then committed a foul and got himself a yellow. Joe, the same, right? I mean, the lads, they're all battling equally. Nobody's trying harder than anybody else. But Oral Mangala did it in a really clever way. And I just think, we were all stood together and I was watching him thinking, this lad could be a real snip And can I just say as well, it's good that us four are on here talking about Nottingham Forest, right? Because I watched Match of the Day last night, and apparently, as far as Match of the Day were concerned, only one team ran out at Goodison Park yesterday because the other never got a mention.
I don't watch it. I haven't watched it for years. Refused to.
Yeah, best night, Malcolm.
You know what it is, right? Because match today I've got agenda, like, because Frank Lampard, fantastic player. Now imagine Everton. It's all about Frank Lampard and him. So it is what it is. We'll talk about, and let's talk about the defense. I said we've seen Joe Worrell. We've been given so much criticism. Cook come back in, Malcolm, and as we know, Nakata's out for months as well. Mark, how do you think the defense played? Because, like I said, Worrell's been given so much criticism, but unfair criticism, in my opinion. People in the comments, what do you think about Joe Worrell? Be honest. And Malcolm, we'll go for you, Malcolm, first.
Joe will be the first to admit, I think he will, that he's not the quickest, but he tries to make up weight in the way that he reads the game and the way he thinks. I'll tell you what impressed me yesterday about Worrell. He got a card early on in the first half.
Yeah.
And then the rest of the game, he didn't put a foot wrong. He didn't do much wrong. And that's what impressed me with Joe. I mean, I've seen somebody today saying, we should put him in the middle of the back three, because he's not the quickest. And I'm thinking that would be the absolute worst thing we could possibly do. I think that when he's out on the right-hand side of a three at the back, I think that's his best position. Yes, he does get suckered in. Yes, he does get turned. But you know what? He'll learn from that. And, he's only a young lad still. He's still learning his trade. And the Premier League's the best league in the world. It's a cut above everything else he's ever played in before. I mean, I remember seeing Joe when he was a young kid, when I was coaching. And I said to his coach at the time, I went, cool, he's a good player, isn't he? He went, he'll play for Forest one day, mate. And he wasn't wrong. He was, he's a good lad. He reads the game really well. And like Yatesy, he's still learning. Brennan, still learning. It's we always have a scapegoat at Forest, whether it be
all the time,
John McGovern, Ben Osborne,
Matty Cash, Malcolm,
Henry Lansbury.
I don't want to mention Matty Cash because everyone knows. I'm not going to disrespect Malcolm.
Ben, let me just tell you something. I said to Tillo on Wednesday night, there was absolutely no way on earth that Gibbs-White was going to sign for us now. And the French lad was going to get the number 10. And he said to me, it's a good job you're Matty Cash-esque. That's why I don't gamble.
Right.
He said that Garner wasn't coming as well. So I said, I hope your Garner prediction was right as well.
Right. If people don't know the story, like, I'll make it quick. Me and Malcolm went to Olympiacos game about 4 years ago, and Matty Cash was playing right back, and we all agreed. And I'll put my hands up for this. Malcolm said Matty Cash is not a right back.
Never was the word.
Never a right back.
But he was being ripped a new one, absolutely. He was being torn apart. And he wasn't just being torn apart, he was 30 yards behind ahead of play. He was totally in the wrong position. He just was not a right back that night.
Yes. And everyone knows the story. Look what happened to him. One of those best seasons ever for Nottingham Forest. Now look at him. He's doing fantastic. Sorry for that.
Well, I think Taiwo Awoniyi is not going to get 3 goals.
Oh, days. People, it's 155 people, and if you can do a massive favour, hit the like button if you can. And if you didn't know, we've got Malcolm, Lee, and Dave. People show some love as well. Lee, like I said, we was mentioned, like I said, Cook. Like I said, he's got a massive job coming up now because, like I said, McCarthy is out now. Do you think he's the man to go forward? Because I know we've been linked with the Wolves.
Bowley, isn't it? Bowley from Wolves.
But I know, like I said, everyone. Yeah, we'll bother. But I know, for me personally, I think Cook played all right yesterday. What's your thoughts on Cook?
I like Cook. I wouldn't have any problems with him being there. He's another one that lacks a bit of pace, but he knows what he's doing. His positionings. He knows where to be in the right place. And as he showed yesterday, wasn't it, from the free kick, Henderson spilled it, and who was there to get the touch first and stick it out to play? Steve Cook. He knows what he's doing. Again, there was a challenge on the far side. So I don't think what half it was in. I think it was the first half, and Cook went straight over there no nonsense, straight into the stand. It was a 50-50. He knows what he's done. I wouldn't have any worries about Steve Cook, and I haven't got any worries about Joe Worrall in the long term, because I know he's struggling. But do you think maybe there's a little bit of that, because he's captain and it's his club and it's Premier League? Do you not think he maybe just needs to settle down a bit? Because if you look at the cup games last season, Leicester and Liverpool, he didn't look out of place in those games. My mate's a Liverpool fan, and as we were coming out the City ground March, whatever, first thing he texted me was, "Thought your captain at the back was superb." So I do think once things settle down, I think Joe will be all right. I think maybe just a bit.
Do you think it's overwhelming for him? Like I said, the Premier League
captain. Maybe.
No, I agree with what Lee says, and I mean, looking at our back three yesterday, it's credit to the other guy that none of us have mentioned him yet. He goes about his business.
I love him.
We love it.
We all love him. He's the guy. Almost you love him by kind of not mentioning him. You don't woo him, and you're all over him. There's Scott McKenna. We all love him.
So well,
I thought Cookie. I'm a big fan of Cookie, and there were people calling for Cookie to be left out. He's too slow because he's 30. Yeah, but Steve Cook's brain is twice the speed of everybody else's.
Koulibaly didn't look particularly pacey today, did he?
I mean, I'll tell you what, I thought Steve Cook had a really, really good game. I thought of the three of them that Joe looked the most jittery, but Malcolm makes a great point that Joe got an early yellow and then managed himself through the game. Yeah, he had a couple of hairy moments, the header at the end, But my view is, if people want to concentrate on the sort of 3 or 4 bad seconds, I'm going to concentrate on the other hour and 80 minutes because that was right. And Joe picked up a yellow and then got himself through the game, which was to his credit. He did the same at Newcastle. The only thing that's happened to Joe is he's just got himself isolated in one-on-ones with lads who are a bit pacey. He's learning as he's going. We're all learning as we go, on and off the field, right? But I'm telling you, my view on Joe Worrall is anybody scapegoating him is a fool. Joe Worrall, I guess, is probably... Joe Worrall will have come off yesterday and he'll have been so honest with himself. My guess is he's his harshest critic. And he'll have had a conversation with... He'll probably gone to Steve Cooper and say, "Gaffer, that didn't work out. That wasn't great. I'm sorry. I'll put it right." I don't think he's been overwhelmed. I think he's got... maybe sometimes with Joe, he's trying to think about everybody else as well with the captaincy. Steve said he got it because of his unselfish nature and his care for other people. But, Forest have always had scapegoats. But for me, I want to be kind about people and I want to try not to be too judgmental.
Dave, you're always kind. You're always kind.
I'm not going to get on Joe's case, and mate, he's like last week, it was people saying, "Well, Brennan hasn't done this and Brennan hasn't done that." And then Brennan has done it now, right? And maybe, Joe will do it next week. Lee's point about the cup games last year, and especially about the Liverpool game, brilliant point that, Lee. Who got the man of the match in that match against, probably one of the 2 or 3 best teams in the world? Joe Worrall stood out above Virgil van Dijk. He stood out above Kanate. He was absolutely outstanding, right?
The Leicester game was the one with the headed tackle as well, wasn't it? So he was great in that game too.
And in that game against Leicester, Lee, Joe did the header on the floor, the tackle. He scored a goal, and he was doing it with cracked ribs. So let us put this to bed once and for all. Joe Worrall is to be trusted. Joe Worrall's certainly my man, and I'm right with him.
Just one more point on that is, remember, obviously Fulham are now in the Premier League as well. We went there, won 1-0. And who was it who was on? I might be totally wrong here. Who was on?
Mitrovic.
Right, Mitrovic that night. Was it Worrall or was it McKenna?
McKenna.
Was it? Yeah. Because he was frustrated that night as well, wasn't he? So I couldn't remember. Well, obviously, but Joe was still part of that defence as well. So I haven't got any worries. I just think it might just be a little bit of over exuberance at the start of the Premier League and the captaincy and all that. But I wouldn't be worried about it.
It's the platform, lads, that got us up, and it's the platform that will, by and large, be if we're going to stay up, it's going to be built on. The Moussa Niakhaté injury is a big blow because I thought he was. He was really impressive last week in that he had to deal with Antonio. Antonio got taken off. So Moose's injury is a big blow. And I'm just in the same token, I'm hoping that Orrell's injury isn't that great. You know, so,
I tell you what does concern me is if we're looking at signing someone like Willy Bolly, if you do believe the rumours, what does that mean about Mbiso and Bianconi?
yeah,
What does that say about them?
yeah, it's a good point.
Because
Yeah.
Bianconi wasn't too bad pre-season, and you know you could put him in that back three definitely.
Yeah, Malcolm, what you just said there, mate. You're taking me back to the Notts County game and Steve's post-match, where Steve was, you know, enthusing about the kids, but he was less enthusiastic about certain other players. And I wonder that night if Loic Mbiso and Julian Biancone were in that clutch of people that Steve was not happy with. So maybe that's where it is. But yeah, you're right. If they're looking for another centre half, they don't maybe have immense faith in you know the next man up, as it were.
But Coyote can play at the back as well, can't he? So there's another option.
Yeah, and do you know what? Right, I had to laugh yesterday. I didn't notice him come on. Right, I was still with all the lads. Right, I think I was probably still coming down from Cloud 9 after Morgan Gibbs-White's little piece of skill. Right, and then all of a sudden I noticed Chet Coyote was on the field, and my first thought was, my God, how big's he? He's a right big unit. And I thought he did okay when he came on.
Yeah.
So, you know, maybe big check is the answer. And I think, well, I actually think the Grimsby game is far more interesting now than it might otherwise have been, given the bench. You know, I would imagine Emmanuel will come on, Remo will come on, Czech will play, and it'd be really interesting to see. Yatesy captain in, I think, on Tuesday night. So, yeah, Czech Coyote, he's a good lad to have about him, I think.
100%.
He went somebody lost. I can't remember who it was. It might have been Yates. He lost the ball. Or somebody lost the ball in midfield. He'd only been on the pitch 30 seconds. He went bonkers at him.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's what I like. I like.
Yeah, absolutely, Malcolm. Yeah.
100%. Right, I've got 3 super chats, and this is one from Andrew. Thank you for the £2. Loving the momentum we are going into the EPL. We are 100%, Andrew. Thank you for the £2. I've got another one somewhere. This can go towards Malcolm's diners here as well. Lenny, thank you for the £5. Will this stop up?
Yeah.
Will this stay up?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I think we will.
Well, look at Newcastle today. Look at what they've done to Man City today.
Yeah.
It makes our result when we looked really nervous in that game.
Yeah.
And you know, if people are saying that Newcastle are nailed on top 8 team, I think we'll finish mid-table. I think we'll be fine. There's going to be 3 worse teams than us in that league.
I think so.
Season.
Yeah, I agree.
Last super chat I've got. To write off Joe Ball within 3 games is pathetic. He won man match against Liverpool last season, like David the pundit says. 100%. And like I said, I saw on Twitter again, and people can have their opinions. It's okay, but like I think it was Malcolm said it. It's always, especially the academy players, because we've got a good reputation of bringing good academy players. I know people used to. I think it was last week. People slating Brennan Johnson as well because he didn't score against West Ham. Now he did score against Everton this time as well. So that's something we'll talk later on. Lee, like I said, after 20 minutes we wasn't great, but then afterwards we gradually was getting better. We mentioned Mangala, fantastic midfielder, and the player we've not mentioned as well, O'Brien.
Yeah.
As well, everyone spoke about O'Brien. He's like all the midfielders that we've got, but O'Brien and Mangala, they're making up their centre midfield their own, aren't they, Lee?
They are, yeah. I mean, he's only a couple of games in, but he's looking like a real steal, isn't he? Really, you know, he's so good on the ball. He can break up play, and you know he does look a really. And yeah, you're right. They seem to be complementing each other really well, those two. And it's going to be a tough task, I think, for the likes of Yatesy and Broiler to get into that team, but. We've just got good quality now in every position, haven't we? Now we've got so many good options. I mean, Dennis didn't even get on yesterday, and it's but yeah, those two in midfield are looking, you know, pretty tasty at the minute. And that's probably the midfield I'd imagine you go with the Tottenham game next weekend, isn't it? It's you know.
What do you think, Malcolm? Like I said, O'Brien, Mangala. Like we keep mentioning Mangala. Like he's a Belgium international, fantastic. And personally, I thought to myself, who is this guy? Who is this guy? Like, we're bringing someone. I know he's young, aggressive player, but again, he was great yesterday. One of Malcolm.
Brilliant, he was. But yeah, Lewis O'Brien. I think he's made the step up to the Premier League really well. He's the only thing I would say where he's probably gonna learn quickly is a couple of times, particularly yesterday, got knocked off the ball quite easily, and he was. I'm not saying he was looking for the foul, but he was quite surprised that he didn't get the foul, and that's the one thing I noticed in the first game against Newcastle. And I'll come to it in a minute. Jesse Lingard against West Ham. But Newcastle, their players, you could tell they've been in the Premiership for a few seasons. They knew how to play the referee. They knew how to play the officials. You know, Jesse did a fantastic thing last week. 10 minutes into the game, he's running forwards. He can see Declan Rice behind him. He steps across Declan Rice, draws the foul. Rice gets a card, and arguably that takes Rice's effectiveness out the game for the rest of the 80-odd minutes that we played. And that's really clever. That's a sign of experience, and that's where Lewis O'Brien will learn that, and he'll get used to that, and that's the sort of thing that he needs to. That's where he can improve. But I think him and Mangala, they've both got great engines on them, and you know they're workhorses in midfield, aren't they? You know, they lose the ball, they want to win it back. Get the ball, they want to get the ball, they want to keep the ball, they want to look after the ball, and they want to move it around quickly. The first 15 minutes, the issue that we had was we were getting rid of the ball and it was being recycled very quickly. And it was coming back to us. Whenever we were putting it upfield, it was coming back straight away. And that's the thing that we did better after the first 15 minutes. We would recycle the ball better and use it more wisely.
Absolutely.
100%. Do you agree, Dave, what Malcolm just said?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, what I like about Lewis O'Brien is a bit like quite a few of them, well, all of them really. They had a really tough day at Newcastle, and obviously maybe possibly some doubts cropped up, and well, I wouldn't say doubts, but Steve said there are things to work on, and so after Newcastle, you could say Forest are unbeaten in two. That's the way to look at it, and I mean, the evolution of Nottingham Forest as a team and as a club in 10 months or 11 months is astonishing, and then in a shorter time frame, in a microcosm, if you like, they've evolved from Newcastle to like now. I mean, it's remarkable. I look at Lewis O'Brien because I think he's a lad who's taken a big step up. Yeah, he's an excellent player in the Championship, but like Malcolm and Lee have alluded to, it's another big step again. So Lewis he's kind of gone from doing his GCSEs, he's doing his A-levels now. Harry Toffolo the same, and I thought Harry had another decent game yesterday. But in midfield, I mean, our options in midfield are terrific. I mean, and it's a case of you get in and you keep the shirt. So what I found really interesting was Orel did really, really well. Probably he caught my eye. Lewis had a decent game. A couple of times he got caught in possession. A couple of times, like Malcolm says, he got knocked off it. But he's learning and he's showing to us, and he's showing most importantly to Steve and Takey and Reedy and the lads that he's learning. And then I thought Yates's cameo actually was fantastic.
That's the player we're going to talk next, but carry on. Yeah,
Yates's cameo. He came on, he created the goal. He had another shot that where we were stood from, it ski whiffed past the post, and blimey, that was close. And then he had that sort of flying volley from, I think it was, Morgan put a cross in, and or maybe Harry, I don't know, but Yates came and hit it, and if that had gone in, it'd been a rocket of a goal. And I thought, oh look, Yates is really trying hard for his place. And I thought that was wonderful. And I'm sure that when Remo Freuler gets his chance, he will do it. Morgan did it when he came on. Chet Coyote did it when he came. And Steve must have been, and the lads must have been standing there going, well, look, it's all happening organically here. We're not really doing very much. They're motivating themselves. And I thought, I mean, my take on the game was that, yeah, it was a really good point. Somebody made a brilliant point to me coming out of Goodison yesterday where they said, had Forest equalised an Everton goal, we'd have been ecstatic, right? So, I mean, the interesting thing to me was that Steve thought we should have won. Frank thought they should have won. And I think maybe a draw was probably a fair result. Now, that might be controversial from Forest fans. I think I think
I
Forest.
disagree. I disagree with you, Dave. There.
I mean, Everton first 15, and they did. Dean had to make. If Dean hadn't got the save to make, then I'd agree with you. But Dean had to make some saves, right? But whatever I think, it's a really good point. It's a first away point. I read an article today where for Nottingham Forest, it's going to be a season of notable moments. So a notable moment was the first win. Well, first game back, first win, first away point. Now, moving on to Tottenham, I think it puts us in I think Conte and Tottenham will look at us and think, hang on a minute, these are kind of acclimatising quite nicely. That's going to be a tough game, So I thought there were lots of positives to come out yesterday, honestly. It was a fantastic day. The crowd were amazing in a good old-fashioned English football ground, and it was a really good game of football,
100%. There's 209 people in. Thank you for everyone that's took the time to watch us raffle about our mighty club Nottingham Forest. If you can, do one favour for me, hit the like button if you can, and subscribe as well. Right, let's talk about the Welsh international, the Wizard Kid, the man himself, Brennan Johnson. I saw people criticise him against West Ham. Let me get Malcolm on this one. He took his goal well, didn't he?
What, the one against West Ham or yesterday?
Both of them.
I tell you what, the one against West Ham. How on earth you can be offside with your shoulder, with your top half of your body when you only score with your feet and your head? I'll never know. But he took it very well, very calm. I've watched it back again tonight, just before the show, on Twitter with the brilliant Radio Nottingham commentary. And I love the way he made Pickford choose where he was going and then put it in the opposite corner, and he was so calm the way he did it. He's, I think, but again, his finish against West Ham, all right, it was marginally offside, but again, it was calm, it was aplomb. It's typical Brennan. He's going to go and stroke it into the back of the net. He's going to go and do that. And I still think he'll probably end up as our top scorer with 12 goals, I reckon he'll get this season. He's
clinical, isn't he? You don't see him miss many chances. Someone's so young.
Somebody put on Twitter last night, that's exactly why you play Brennan Johnson, because he has one chance and he scores.
Yeah.
Do you know what I thought?
Against Blackpool last season, both of them were absolutely. After that game, I thought, you know what, he could play up front. He could really good, and I think Wales sometimes play him as a striker, don't they? So
his goal yesterday, lads, reminded me hugely of his goal at Bramall Lane in the first leg, because the ball ran loose and Brennan. That day, he let Wes Foderingham choose. Yesterday, like Malcolm says, he made England's number 2 goalkeeper. Let's get that right. Choose the wrong side. The thing about Brennan is, if people are expecting Brennan to be on it for 90 minutes, I don't care, because 2 or 3 minutes of Brennan might be worth 90 minutes, 180 minutes of other players. I mean, and how interesting.
Solomon Rondo.
Yeah, how interesting at the end of, towards, I think, the last 20 minutes, you had Brennan as a sort of focal point, an arrowhead, if you like, and he had Jesse and Morgan playing behind him, and they were like 3 kids playing down the park, just really enjoying their football. And I thought, I'm cool, I'm down with the kids. I thought it was fantastic seeing those 3 play together.
100%. I said we remember Brennan Johnson. Like I said, another player that I said at the end of August we'll see the best of Jesse Lingard. We brought in Morgan Gibbs-White. I saw it again on Twitter. That's why I shouldn't watch Twitter, if I'm honest, because it's just people have the opinion, have the positives, negatives.
Not a problem. Anybody having an opinion? Football's about opinions.
Exactly.
It's okay. We watch the same game and we watch it differently. Everybody can have an opinion.
It's okay to have opinion, people, but again, I know Lee Tilson, he's not on Twitter. I think you should don't go on Twitter, Lee. It's bad for you.
I mean, not going to tweet without being on Twitter.
Yeah, don't go on Twitter. Actually, Malcolm, and I about like Jesse Lingard. Like I said, me personally, I don't think we'll see the best from him to end of August. What's your opinion on Jesse Lingard? And people in the comments as well, get involved. What do you think about Jesse? Do you think we'll see the best of him out of the end of August? Malcolm, what do you think?
It's a great question, Ben. I don't know, because I don't know him well enough. He's the thing I like about Jesse and Morgan Gibbs-White and those types of players is they take the focal point away from players like Brennan Johnson.
Yeah, great point.
5%.
Because what it means is that everybody's talking about them and not about the guys that probably They're kids. They're young lads. They feel the pressure. So for somebody like Jesse Lingard, who is massively experienced, all right, he's not played that many games over the last 7 years, but he's got a lot of experience. He was fantastic in the World Cup for England, a few years ago. I can't remember it because I was in Benidorm with the lads, so it's a blur. But
on ITV4.
Who knows? But yeah, do I think we'll see? I don't know, Ben. It's a great question. I think probably the end of August is a little bit too soon. I mean, what's that next week?
Yeah,
this week?
yeah.
I think
Man City away.
I think. Well, that'd be brilliant, wouldn't it? But let's think. Give him 6 or 7 games, and then see where he is. The international break will come just at the right time for us. We've got a tough run into the international break. We've got 3 away, 3 home. We've got 1 cup, 5 league, and out of all those games, you would have said before the season we'd be looking at picking up points. We're in the next 5 league games against Bournemouth and Leeds, but neither of those are going to be a walkover. Bournemouth at home, we should be winning that. You would think with the players that we got. Leeds away, you'd have been dead confident till today. And look what they've done to Chelsea.
Excellent today, Leeds.
We've got to really press hard. We've got to push on into the international break, and I think that's where we'll see the next 5 games is we'll see what Jesse's made of, and the international break will come at the right point for us.
You know what? It's spot on, Markham, and I'm going to ask Lee about this. You said when we got good players being like just Lingard, it takes the pressure off Brennan, because we know, as everyone knows, 20 goals last season. All the pressure was on him to get all the goals, and like now in the Premier League, we've got like Jesse, we've got, like I said, Dean Henderson, fantastic goalkeeper, and we'll talk about him later on. Lee, like I said, the player I want to talk about, and again, yes, he didn't score yesterday. Trevor Francis tracksuits. Thank you for the question. What's your thoughts on Awoniyi? Because, like I said, again, he's been giving criticism again. Like I said, people, it's okay to have opinion, and it's fine. But Lee, what's your thoughts on him?
I think he's done all right. Yeah, I was probably guilty of being a little bit critical during pre-season. I thought, not so much he didn't score, but I didn't really see much from him either. That I thought we might be entitled to a bit more for the fee that we've paid. But since the season started, I thought he was great against West Ham. Deserved his goal, was as lucky as it might have been. I thought he earned it over the course of the game. And again, yesterday, he keeps going, and he's a willing runner, and it's he had those 2 efforts, didn't he, where he's tried a clever little effort there using the defender, and it hasn't quite worked out. But I think he's another one, a bit like the team in general. He's growing into it, and I'm starting. He's starting to win me round. Really, I've been really impressed with how he's done the last couple of games, and he plays with a smile as well, which is good. I think he's doing pretty well so far.
If you watch him off the ball, he's not the quickest.
No,
he's got to. His movement off the ball is really good. If you actually watch him, his movement's really good. He's got good anticipation, and he knows he can cut across the defenders into the channels, and that's where he wants the ball. He wants it in front of him. He wants it in front of him 25, 30 yards out.
It was noticeable.
First touch, ball out the feet, have a shot, and that's where he'll excel.
Yeah, it was noticeable to me, lads, that last week against West Ham, that Nico and Harry in particular were very keen to sort of knock balls in around the back of fullbacks. It's almost like they want Taiwo going forward. My thought about Taiwo is he might not yet. He will be, because he's adapting to a new country, a new club. It's for him. There's lots going on in his life. I think he's made some really good steps, and certainly since pre-season ended.
Yeah.
I thought against West Ham he was excellent. Yesterday he was decent.
Yeah.
I just kind of felt that, like, what's he like with these? We were spoilt by Keenan last year. Back to goal with his backside up against defenders. Really, really good, big, ripped guy. Taiwo is slightly different. I think Taiwo would like balls to run onto. And I noticed, especially Nico last week, and to a lesser extent yesterday, but it was still in his mind, to whip a ball and to get Taiwo running onto it. I mean, the ideal ball for Taiwo Awoniyi, if you could take it and bottle it and Xerox it and spread it around, would be the ball that Ivan Toney played to Brian Mbumo against that non-league team last week, right? If you could get one of those, you could get one of those for Taiwo Awoniyi every time, you're right. But Taiwo did his business, and Lee, what Lee says, Taiwo Awoniyi looks like he's enjoying his football, and actually they all do. I do think there's only one of them really who's come in and hit the ground running straight away. The others are having to evolve, but I think Oral Mangala has come in and he's looked great from the get-go. He's the only one. The others, it's going to take time. And they're human beings, and Steve is a brilliant dealer with human beings, and he'll see that they're all evolving at different levels and different paces. You can't throw a blanket all over them and expect 25 or whatever individuals to all be the same. They've all got their own needs and wants. Cloughy was the greatest of them all at assessing different people. So I've no worries about Taiwo, and I love the fact that last week he scored off his knee, and I don't think Steve won't be worried about him. Tatey won't be worried. Andy Reid won't be worried. Jamie Robinson won't be worried. So I've no worries about him, and but it's going to take time. But given that they're all a lot of them gang of strangers, it hasn't half been bad to get 4 points out to 9. Last week I thought was really cohesive. Yesterday again, after a shaky start, they kind of gelled, and lots to like about all of them.
You've really got to credit the recruitment, because when you go back to January to summer, we really we've signed a lot of players this summer, January as well. I mean, we must be on the 20 new players mark for this calendar year. We've not seen any duds really, have we? And that proper players, we've not really seen any duds, and to sign that many, you've got to have complete faith in the recruitment, because they look like they've really got something now with a lot of these players coming in. They look really good players. They look really good appointments. So
I've got a theory about match of the day last night. The fact that they didn't mention Forest. Maybe it was because Martin Keown was on, and he made a big thing of they've signed too many new guys. And maybe they kind of didn't comment on Forest because Martin Keown would have had to say something, and he'd have looked silly because they didn't look like strangers yesterday.
Yeah.
I thought it was probably because we were on last, weren't we? And they rushed in to get off, and just rushed over it. Yeah.
There's 215 people in. Thank you for everyone that's taking part. Before we talk about an expensive signing for Nottingham Forest, on a shout out to Iron Wolf. Thank you for the £20. I think that's the highest amount I've got. So thank you again. Loving the stream store with all you helping you and your guests. Keep it up, mate. Much love. Iron Wolf, can you email me, please, if you can, or on Twitter or Instagram?
All these bank details.
Yeah, thank you, Flex. I do appreciate it. That's the most expensive I've had on the stream. So thank you very much. And we'd just like to email me. I can, if you can, please. Thank you. Right. Let's talk about our new signing. The 25, whatever, 40 million, 35 million, whatever you want to call it. Malcolm, like I say, Cooper's got his man at last. It's been so long. Talk to him, Malcolm, man. Let people in the comments as well. What did you, when he first come on, what was your thoughts? People in the comments, get below. Malcolm, what's your thoughts?
But the first thing is, I couldn't believe he's actually signed for us after all that. After how protracted it was. And I was actually talking to someone inside Forest the other week, and he said to me, if Gibbs-White wants to come, he should put a transfer request in. And I really didn't think he'd come. But what did I think? He was up for it. He looked lively. He looked very skillful. And I think he'll have absolutely no problem at all settling down as a Premier League player. I mean, I know he's played for Wolves in the Premier League, but I'm not sure he's wanted to be there. And he had a spring in his step yesterday. I mean, that little bit of skill he did in front of us yesterday.
Brilliant.
The last player I saw do something like that was Brian Roy.
Legend.
The fact that he came on and he didn't play that many minutes for us yesterday, but he had such a big impact was great. And I think he's going to be, a really class player, class. And
100%.
I think Cooper could be the making of him. And yeah, Absolutely. Very, very pleased that he's signed.
Hmm.
I think Steve Cooper will sign his contract now.
100%. 100%.
and
I think that's what we're
that'd be
waiting
a
for.
great way of finishing the transfer window.
100%. What's your thoughts, Lee? Like I said, Monk Gibbs-White, and when he come on, that when he went past two players, just walked past them like there was no one near. But,
He just needs a good song now, doesn't he, Ben?
yeah. No, they don't sing because the views will go down. Don't bother singing.
Oh no, we won't. Well, yeah, no, he was class, and I was like a kid at Christmas when he came, because it just seemed to come out of the blue, didn't it? It was like a card trick or something. It's like Cooper had us all looking at Neil Mopai. It was like I kept checking my phone, thinking, "Has Mopai signed yet? Has Mopai signed yet?" And the next minute, I got a notification, looked at it, thinking, "Oh, is this Mopai?" And said, "Morgan Gibbs-White signs for Forest." I couldn't believe it. It's
I got a text off Dore that went, "Here we go," and I'm like, "Oh, we've got the French guy." And I'm like, "What? We've got Gibbs-White? That's incredible."
Do you know something, lads? When he signed, right, or when I found out, I'd just done an hour and a half in the gym, come back in the changing room, had a look at my phone, Morgan Gibbs-White signed, put my phone back, and went and did another hour and a half. And I tell you, what Lee says about like a kid at Christmas, I mean, for me, I was really glad he signed. I was conscious of the fee and to a certain amount of pressure on Morgan. And you kind of think, when he came on yesterday, I was like, come on, kidder, show us what you've got. Be as good as we want. And then he did that little bit. I think he nutmegged Anthony Gordon, and then he went between two with his right foot and put across him with his left. And I was stood 6 rows from the front with Malcolm and Dore and Des and the Pie Man and Craig and everybody, some great lads in there, Luke Abbott. And I was like leaping about, and I wanted to hug. I think I grabbed Malcolm's shoulders and hugged him. Then I wanted to hug Craig. And I was like, did you just see what he did? And he did. And we were lucky because he did it right in front of us. It was like he was in our garden and we were looking out the window. And I just thought, and he exudes this kind of lovely personality. I don't know if you lads saw his first interview.
Yeah.
He smiled and he looked happy. And I thought,
he looked made up to be here, didn't he?
Yeah, and how can a lad like that get a girlfriend as beautiful as that? Well, I know now. She's obviously seen him do his skills. And I just thought he gives off a nice vibe. I mean, I'm biased because I'm from Staffordshire. He's from Staffordshire as well. But I just think, and again, I go back to this thing of Jesse and Morgan and Brennan together. And I just thought, aren't they lovely? I just thought they were, I mean, I felt like uncleish towards them. I thought they were great. And Morgan, he's got the best guy looking after him. He's got the guy who he wanted to look after him. And I think motivation's not an issue. I tell you what, Forest are getting a little bit of a kind of a cool gang mentality. Nico fits in. Morgan, Jesse, Brennan.
I loved Nico's Rabona yesterday.
Say again, mate?
I loved Nico's Rabona yesterday. If he'd only got a goal out of that, right in front of the Gladys Street as well.
Brilliant.
Yeah. I mean, he's got some. He's not no shortage of confidence as he doing, pulling off a trick like that. So,
and the blend. So we've got all our colour young guys, if you like, and then you add to them Cookie, the coach on the field, and then you add Mr. Nottingham, Joe, right, and you add the silent brick wall at the back, who's we all love, don't we? Because we never talk about him, and the blend. Malcolm's coached teams, I've coached teams. You sometimes look at something, and Manchester United will be thinking, well, how Forest done it because they can't do it. And you look at something and you just get a feeling like, oh, that just feels right. You can't express it in words.
It's fit.
Yeah, it's fit. There's a kind of an unsaid, unwritten goodness about it, and that's what I've thought about Forest. It's going to get tested in the next. Well, not Grimsby's going, but Tottenham and Manchester City. We're really going to see then. That's on the horizon, though.
Dave, look at the comment, Dave.
Well said, Mark.
Let me just say to Mark, I'm in the male menopause at the moment, mate. So,
hey, Dore, there was a comment a bit ago from a lad who's watching in Mexico. Is he glad that Gary's gone home?
Yeah, I see that. Yeah, are you glad that Gary's gone home? Yeah, no. Why can't you leave him in Mexico?
It's Thomas Walker, wasn't it?
That's it. People in the 260 people, thank you very much. We're nearly the last part of the show. We spoke about this, and I'll get Lee on this. Dean Henderson. Again, people, I'll start the season when we brought him, everyone thought he wasn't good enough. We should have kept Sam, blah, blah, blah. But since Dean Henderson's come in, another keeper that Cooper brought in, and he's not let us down again, hasn't he, Lee?
Superb, isn't he? Really, really good. And when you go on the back of his performances at Sheffield United as well, if he carries on this type of form, I think he'll go to the World Cup, but I don't think he'll get in over Pickford, just because I think he's very loyal, isn't he? Almost to the point of madness to some play. I mean, Pickford hasn't really done anything wrong, to be fair, but Henderson just looks different gravy. But again, it just goes back to what we said before about the recruitment. Every player that we sign, it seems to be a better player than the one before. I mean, Dean Henderson looks a better keeper than Samba, and I love Brees. Nico Williams looks an improvement on Jed Spence, and it's just the recruitment's just absolutely spot on. But I suppose, well, it's too early to think about it, but I suppose worried would be if he's still only on loan, isn't he? I wish we'd just got that deal permanently, because if every time he does well for us, it's great for us. But surely United must be keeping a close eye on this, and if he carries on these performances,
he won't be going back to United.
No, burnt his bridges.
He's burnt his bridges, Lee. There's absolutely no way. There's no going back for him.
Is that the same way Gibbs-White's not coming to Forest?
I mean, Malcolm's right, Lee. I think
won't be, to be fair, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Dean. It's almost like Dean used that interview.
I just thought of that interview, as Malcolm was saying. You can't go back there, can you?
Yeah, he didn't so much burn the bridge to Old Trafford as plant dynamite on every sort of pillar on it and blow the thing to smithereens. He will not go back to Manchester United. I mean, Eric Ten Hag probably. I mean, the United fans probably wouldn't want him. I mean, it's probably good for Dean that on Boxing Day Wayne will play instead, because if Dean goes there, he's going to get some right stick. So, but I think the point you make about Brees, Lee, is a really good one, because I think we were all sad to see Brees go. We all loved him as a character, and I think people were saying, "Oh, Henderson's an upgrade," but I don't think they were that convinced of it. But I think we're all convinced now, and I think actually. There was a question put on today somewhere that I answered, and they asked, who do you think's been the best player over the 3 games? And it has to be Dean, because nobody really played that great at Newcastle, but Dean had to play well at Newcastle to keep the score down. So I would go with Dean as our best player so far. But no, he's been great. Some of the saves have been outstanding.
And he's catching now as well, and he's commanding when he comes for the crosses. And his starting point as well,
Yeah.
It didn't look an amazing save, that's one right at the end of the game yesterday, but if he'd been a fraction further back, he wouldn't have been out onto Gordon when he was, and we could have lost that game. So it's that was a fantastic save.
He transmits his confidence to other people. He doesn't keep it for himself. He doesn't. I'm Dean Henderson. I'm confident for me. He'll say, "I'm Dean Henderson. I'm confident. I'll give it to Joe. I'll give it to Cookie. I'll give it to Scott. I'll give it to Nico. I'll give it to Harry." And it's like Shilton did in the old days. The lads would look back and see Shilton and think, "Well, we're all right because we've got in there." And while Dean's not in the same class as Peter Shilton, let's not beat about the bush. Dean's kind of making our lads. I think Dean's confidence is helping our lads to adapt quicker to this exalted level. I do.
Yeah.
I love Dave when he says them kind of words. People in the comments, I just love what he just said. I was like, what the fuck? How did he just said?
It's a pompous ass, mate.
He's been listening to Simon Jordan, hasn't he? He's been brushing up on his dialogue.
Oh my God, friendly. Bless your son for that.
Right, we've got 5 minutes to go. We'll get a panel as well. People as well. Who was your man of the match yesterday, and what was your rating as well on the team performance? Put in the comments as well. I'll go through the panel. Let's start with you, Lee. Man of the match, and what was your team rating?
Team rating, I think a good solid 7. Man of the match. We had some really good performance, but you know what? It might seem like a bit of a strange one. But I'd say Yatesy, Ryan Yates. He's come on. He's as soon as he got on, he was in the faces. He was all action. He just plays like a fan, doesn't he? He is a fan, and that's how he plays. He's got that energy. He gets about. He made the goal really with a shot. He had another couple of efforts. He's steaming into the box, getting on the end of a cross. He's all about the pitch, winning tackles. And again, he didn't. When you think of some of the criticism he's had in the past, and it's the first game back, he come on, and as soon as he come on, I thought, we became the better side. Then from being quite an even game, he come on, and we just looked that better side. And I'd have loved it if he'd buried that chance at the end. And from a really good team performance, I'd give it Yatesy just because I think he just made that difference. And the goal again, it's come from two academy graduates, hasn't it? Yatesy's had the shot, Brennan's finished it, and again, it's all good.
Before we do, I get my comment Dave's opinion on my match. When Mangala went off, I thought when Ryan Yates come on, I thought it might be too much for Ryan Yates because he's come back from injury, and blah blah blah. But he proved me so wrong. This is why I love Ryan Yates. I love Ryan Yates more than everyone else. And he come on, like I said, I wish he scored a goal. I went mad. Yatesy! If people saw me, if no one saw the vlog and everyone saw me, I went mad. But I'm happy for Yatesy. I think he's got a chance. If we don't know how long. I think what Cooper said about Mangala, I think it was tiredness more than anything. But, I think so. I think he'll be back. Before I do get Malcolm and Dave, I got a super chat from Claire. Thank you, Claire. Dino was so good. Definitely the best player so far. I just want to say, Dave, it's finally nice to meet you.
Yeah, great lash, Claire.
Yeah.
Thank you for looking after me, Claire.
Dave, Claire, thank you as well for waiting and giving the ticket to Dave as well.
Yeah, thank you, Claire. Thanks for making us not wait, and you did it for us. Well done.
Thank you very much, Claire. She's such a fantastic woman. Make sure everyone follows Claire on Twitter. Thank you for the £4.49. As well, people carry on. Like I said, who was your man of the match? Who was your rating? Malcolm, who was yours? What was your rating of man of the match?
Mangala 7.
Mangala 7. Okay, that was easy.
Solid
and good.
7. Mangala, because he changed the game. He realised, he looked at that game 15 minutes in and went, I've got to do something about this.
Short and sweet. I'm loving that. Can Dave make it short and sweet like Malcolm? Dave?
On, Ben. Let me be thinking bucket on. I've just joined the Happy Mondays again. Me and Bez. So Ellie's watching. I would give us a 7. I thought that I was all there for giving them a 9, and then that goal went in at the end, which I was really happy that Steve was unhappy because it was a poor goal to give away. And for those actually saying, Jordan Pickford, for all that we gave him some stick, he created that. But I would give us a 7, and my man of the match would be Orel Mangala. I just thought like Malcolm said, Orel looked about the field and thought to himself, one of us here has to take responsibility and take the initiative away. And I thought he did it. He did it really subtly. What I love, he could be in the way that we love McKenna, because Scott goes about his business, minimum force, unselfish, doesn't want any limelight. I think Orel Mangala could be another one like Scott. And I just, Morgan Gibbs-White and Jesse and Brennan, they get you leaping out your seat. But Orel, I kind of sat back in my armchair and just watched Orel take control. And I thought, my first thought was, thank you to the recruitment team. And as Lee says, thank you for pinpointing this guy, because he looks a real, not only a talent, but a real good team player. And again, another unselfish lad. And I think it's almost like they're picking guys who have proven unselfish. So I've got to give it to Orel. Lee's point about Ryan Yates, though, is great, because when the two of them swapped, you kind of thought, would there be a drop-off? There wasn't a drop-off. There was just a subtle change of emphasis from Orel was sort of doing that stuff. And then Yatesy was like, oh, let's get right at Everton. So Yatesy put in a great, if Steve wanted his players to say to him, I'm after that shirt, his vice captain did it beautifully yesterday. But I don't think, I don't think you could really say that anybody had a bad game, to be honest. So
You know what? You know what I said to Dave? Let's make it short and
I'm
sweet.
going to go to bed. I'm really sorry, mate.
The answer to your question is no, he can't do it.
Dave got, this is why everyone loves Dave, because Dave can just
Seven,
talk and
thank God.
talk. Oh, you know what?
To quote my esteemed colleague here.
But I'll do mine. I think I'll give it Team 7. And my match, I think I've got to say Mangala for me was fantastic for me. And like I said, it's a player that we needed. I wish he started against Newcastle, him and O'Brien, because I think if we did that, it would have. And the Newcastle midfield was fantastic. But if we had Mangala there, then
Ben, can I just say one thing about Mangala?
Yeah.
The difference between Mangala and James Garner. Mangala demands to be on the ball. He wants it. He wants the ball all the time, and he wants to take responsibility, and that's where Jimmy Garner is not quite there.
He's still young, though, isn't he, Garner?
I
mean, if we were to sign him tomorrow, he's our youngest midfielder, isn't he? Still, so he's still got all that potential ahead of him.
It's not coming late, so it don't matter.
I'm not having a word against our local lad. I want him back in a Forest shirt.
All right, people, it's been a great show. Thank you for everyone that took part as well. Thank you for the 206 people. If you can do a massive favor before you do go, people, hit the like button as well. And if you're new to the channel, you do me a massive favor as well. Hit the subscribe button. But for people, the coach, I'll see you next year because he's not coming back on my channel. I've had enough of him already.
Thanks, Ben.
But yeah, thank you, Mark Bowen. Thank you, Lee, as well. The Liverpool Balloon.
Pleasure to be on, mate.
Yeah, and last but not least, Dave, just make this really, really, really short. Thank you for coming on, Dave.
Been quite reticent tonight, Ben.
Bloody hell. But yeah. Oh, what would you say?
He's definitely got there. He's definitely been looking for the dictionary before coming on.
I'm really sorry.
It's fine. But yeah, people, it's been a like I said, fantastic. Thank you everyone that took part as well. Tomorrow, Des is doing a phone in as well. So if you do want to phone in the Des channel, 9 o'clock, it starts tomorrow.
Bring him about Morgan Gibbs-White, everybody.
Des is the one that made the deal, as everyone thinks, as he says it is. But yeah, people, 9 o'clock, Des is doing a show. If you've not saw my vlog, if you want to hear the door scream back again, it was on as well. so yeah, that was, I don't know, that was Des' fault. He punched me as I screamed. So yeah, but yeah, people, 9 o'clock, Des is on. If you want to watch the vlog, please watch it as well. But yeah, people, Malcolm, Lee, and Dave, thank you very much for taking the time as well. I'll be back Wednesday. We'll talk about the Grimsby games. We've got Grimsby on Tuesday. So if you are going to Grimsby game, don't be shy. Just get on the vlog and just annoy me. So right, people, I'm gonna get going. Thank you for taking part, and I'll see everyone on Tuesday. Peace and love. That's what Malcolm says.
You're Reds.
Peace and love.
You're Reds.
Come on, boy.